The war between Ukraine and Russia affected the whole world in military, diplomatic, geopolitical, and socio-economic fields. With the escalation of the war, many conflict zones in the world flared up. As the world split into several poles, Russia and its allies began to weaken. Especially as Russia's dominance in the Middle East is undermined, Iran is trying to support Russia. However, Iran's unjust efforts in Syria and the actions of Iranian-backed militant forces are instantly suppressed by Israel. In these times when the war between Ukraine and Russia is heating up, Israel wants to dominate Russia's playground in Syria. Russian-Israeli cooperation in Syria has been severely damaged by recent Israeli aid to Ukraine. Israel did not remain indifferent to Russia's supply of suicide drones from Iran, which wanted to gain an advantage in the war in Ukraine. Israel provided Ukraine with intelligence on suicide drones. Unable to fully digest the rapprochement between Russia and Iran, Israel has launched airstrikes on the positions of Iranian-backed militant groups in Syria in recent months. After Israel's attacks on Iranian-backed militants and sending support to Ukraine, Russia has publicly warned Israel. But this warning did not receive any response from Israel. While Russia's dominance in Syria has decreased significantly, Israel has stepped up its activities in the region. Israel clearly does not like Iran because of its nuclear activities and the attack of Iran-backed militia groups in Syria against Israel. Iran continues to anger Israel by making moves that Israel does not want. Considering the fact that Israel has not been operating in Syria for a while, Iran has significantly strengthened the militia groups it supports in the region. Realizing Iran's support for militant groups in Syria, Israel launched attacks on many targets, including Damascus International Airport. As a result of these attacks, many targets near Damascus, the capital of Syria, were destroyed by Israeli forces. The presence of the Quds Force and Iranian-backed militants has recently spread on Syrian territory. It was stated that in this attack by the Israeli Air Force, a building used as the headquarters of the militia forces was hit. Last day, Israel carried out an airstrike targeting Damascus International Airport and its surroundings. Israeli F-16 fighter jets launched missile attacks on Syrian territory. 7 of 8 rockets fired by Israeli planes hit the runway of Damascus International Airport. 4 Israeli F-16 jets both neutralized the Russian air defense systems at Damascus Airport with anti-radar missiles and blew up Iranian-backed militant positions and Russian-made air defense systems with 2 missiles each. As a result of this attack by the Israeli Air Force, Damascus International Airport was taken out of service. 2 soldiers were killed and 2 soldiers were injured. This was the second attack to take Damascus International Airport out of service in several months. The Israeli attack on Syria took place at night. It has been determined that Israeli aircraft operated from Israeli airspace launched their missiles from Lake Tiberia. The targets in question were buildings and structures on the territory of the airport where Iranian weapons arrived in Syria a few days ago. As a result of the attack, very serious damage was seen on the 2 targets hit. However, it is not known exactly what was stored at the facilities shot down by the Israeli Air Force. Israel believes that Iran can deliver kamikaze drones to Syria. However, evidence of this has not yet emerged. In the previous airstrike on Damascus Airport, airstrikes attributed to Israel in June struck Damascus International Airport, causing serious damage and rendering the main runway unusable. The airport opened 2 weeks later after repairs. The Israeli Air Force has been carrying out occasional attacks on and around Damascus International Airport for many years. Israel Defense Forces have often targeted specific shipments and stockpiles of Iranian weapons transferred to extremist proxies such as Hezbollah and the Syrian government. It is a remarkable detail that the southern runway of Damascus International Airport has become unusable. While the southern runway of Damascus International Airport was hit several times, the northern runway received only 1 hit. The Israeli forces found that Iran's shipping activity usually takes place in the southernmost area of the airport. Because of this, the Israeli Air Force made the south runway completely unusable, and the north runway was damaged, preventing large planes from landing. Damascus International Airport still maintains functionality. It is not known whether the attack by the Israeli Air Force served this purpose. A more plausible explanation is that the missiles launched by the Israeli Air Force did not reach the other runway. Whether the attack by the Ukrainian forces was intentional or not, it is understood that they aimed to send a serious message to the Assad regime. Iran usually ships large arms with Iranian cargo airlines that frequently land at Damascus International and Tialar or T4 airbase outside the central Syrian city of Palmyra. Iranian-made weapons were found to be stored in warehouses in the region before being taken to Lebanon. The Assad government stated that Israel has also targeted Aleppo International Airport several times in recent months. The Israeli military refrains from commenting on specific attacks in Syria. However, the Israeli Air Force has admitted to conducting hundreds of sorties against Iran-backed groups trying to establish a foothold in Syria. The Israeli Defense Forces stressed that it also attacked armed shipments believed to be affiliated with these groups, including the Lebanese Hezbollah. In the latest attack by Israeli forces targeting Iranian-backed militias in Syria, the Israeli Air Force said it targeted a secret Hezbollah drone site near the city of Homs in northwest Syria and struck several other locations in the Damascus region. Israel has signaled that the attacks will increase rapidly as the interaction between Damascus and Tehran increases. The chief of staff of the Israeli Defense Forces, Lieutenant General, stated that the airstrikes of the Israeli forces were initially once every 4 months, but today they have been increased in frequency to once a week. The Lieutenant General described the Israeli airstrikes as a reflection of Iran's increasing use to unload advanced weapons against militia groups on the Israeli border and Hezbollah in Lebanon. The resumption of some cross-border operations by Israeli forces within 8 hours after the attack at Damascus International Airport can be considered as proof of how sensitive Israel is in protecting its borders. Returning to power last week, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke at a cabinet meeting and reiterated Israel's opposition to a nuclear deal with Iran that seems to have stalled in recent months. Netanyahu emphasized that they will openly work from a strong position in the international arena against a return to the nuclear agreement. Netanyahu pointed out that they will stand strong and openly against the Iranian regime, which is killing innocent citizens inside and outside Iran, not only in meetings with leaders behind closed doors, but also in the global field of view, which is aware of the real dangers posed by Iran. Israel has acknowledged targeting bases by Iranian allied militant groups such as Lebanon's Hezbollah, which has sent thousands of fighters to support the forces of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. Thousands of Iranian-backed fighters participated in Syria's 11-year civil war and helped shift the balance of power in Assad's favor. Israel acknowledged that the Iranian presence on its northern border justifies its attacks on facilities and weapons inside Syria. Considering Russia's situation in Ukraine, it is predicted that there will be a large gap in Syrian territory. In order to fill the gap in the region and harm Israel, Iran will continue its support to the militia forces and Lebanese Hezbollah without slowing down. It is certain that Israel will continue its attacks against all kinds of threats against it on Syrian territory, and will protect its borders. When these situations are put together as a puzzle piece, a great power struggle will occur in Syrian territory, just as in Ukraine. However, in the power struggle on Syrian territory, Israeli forces with modern and high attack power are in an advantageous position against militia forces and Lebanese Hezbollah.